share my spreadsheet here. Okay, so we were looking. So what you could do is Google, apartamentos venta en Medellin, which is in Spanish, apartments for sale, and go through these websites. Some of these are going to be newer projects. Some of these are going to be websites that have a lot of listings, both old and new. So you could start doing your own research like this and build a spreadsheet kind of like I have here. So I put the neighborhood here. I put the link to where I found the property. If there's a YouTube video on my channel, I put it there. What the property, how much the property costs in Colombian pesos, and then do the conversion to USD right here. If they have the listing, if the listing shows you how much the homeowners association is or administración, what that price is in pesos and what it is in dollars. Are you able to do Airbnb monthly, daily, or none at all? What the square meters is and what that is in square feet, because most of my clients are American, so I always convert it to square feet because that's what we're familiar with. What is the cost per square meter in pesos and cost per square meter in dollars, which is basically the cost of the property divided by the square meters of the property, and it gives you the cost per square meter. And that's really important because once you learn these, you start to get you start to gauge how much each neighborhood costs per square meter. And it usually depends on a few factors. Number one is what neighborhood it's in. And when I say neighborhood, I mean like sub-neighborhood within El Poblado. When I'm looking for properties in El Poblado, I look for the sub-neighborhoods, and then I know like, oh, Los Gonzales, I know that the price per square meter is going to be higher. El Tesoro, I know the price per square meter is going to be higher. So the sub-neighborhood determines the price per square meter because of comps, the competition or the comparisons, or comparables, I guess. And also the age of the building plays into the cost per square meter, right? The total cost as well. And whether it has security, amenities, all that stuff counts as well. Does it have a view? I always put that because most of our clients want some sort of view, unless if they're just pure investors and they just want something near the touristy areas and views don't matter. It's just proximity to, Provenza, Parque Lleras, Parque El Poblado. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, what floor, whether it has security, whether it has a pool, whether it has a gym, whether it has parking spaces, whether it has storage, and the age of the building, what year it was built on, and any notes that I have, like, oh, it has a jacuzzi or a sauna or whatever, which a lot of buildings do have. So let's look at some deals and figure out if they would be a good deal for investment. Remember that a lot of clients are, buying property for lifestyle, where they're going to be living in the property, and that's completely fine. So at that point, the cap rate and the ROI don't really matter as much as, for example, our latest client, who he doesn't plan on even living in Medellin. He only comes to visit once a month. So for him, cap rate, return on investment was super important. So I'll show both of those, whether a deal makes sense for investment purposes or if it's just lifestyle, the location is going to be prime, right? Okay, how is Las Palmas and how does it compare to El Tesoro? Las Palmas is less dense than El Tesoro. Las Palmas, you have a lot more space and also more high-end, let's say, properties like houses, where in El Tesoro, most of the properties in El Tesoro are buildings, like high-rise buildings that have apartments, or apartment buildings, I should say. So people love El Tesoro because it's safe. It's near El Tesoro Mall. There's a lot of things to do around there. A lot of people, the people that live in Las Palmas, you'll definitely need a car. You're not walking to places as much. So that's the difference. I would say Las Palmas is a bit more exclusive, unless if you go to the part of Las Palmas that has like the high rises. And I know that there's a part in Las Palmas, like going towards downtown, which is a lower estrato as well, or socioeconomic stratum, where prices will be lower. But for investment purposes, I would stick to near El Tesoro. I would stick to near Provenza, really. I mean, the closer you could get to think of Provenza as the beachfront, right? This is waterfront property if you're in Provenza. The closer you are to Provenza, the better your Airbnb is going to do. Usually, that's my rule of thumb is like if I can get as close as I can, walking distance from Provenza, and it's a good deal, then it's going to return well as well. So let's take a look at some of these. For example, let's look at the U.S. dollars. I'm going to order this from, I guess, the cheapest that I've found. Whoops, that was the more expensive. Okay, so from the cheapest, this one's $0. No, I'm not done with that one though. Okay, so let's take a look at one that we found on the Colombian MLS. I'll show you the Colombian MLS. This one is $131,000 in, where is this one's located? This one's located in El Poblado. This is the link to where it's at on the Colombian MLS. That's Diana right there who helped me find this. This is the location. So as far as location is concerned, this is the pin right here. This is El Poblado. Calle 10 and all of the touristy stuff is over here. So you're pretty much walking distance from Provenza, Parque Lleras, even Parque del Poblado, right here in Alejandría. And this is a hill, so it's not like you're going to be walking all the time, but you could, if you wanted to, walk, all the way to here, to Calle 10 and the restaurants, and there's going to be restaurants in this area as well. The Golden Mile is right here. Santa Fe Mall is right here. So as far as location, this is a great location for both things. For real estate investment, to put up on Airbnb, or to live in, because lifestyle, you're walking distance from everything. It's safe and it's quiet. And there's a large park right here. There's the big mall, one of the biggest malls in all of Medellin, which is right here, Santa Fe Mall. You've got grocery stores. You've got the Golden Mile and Ciclovia that runs through here, which is shut down every Sunday, and thousands of people are just out there walking, jogging, doing exercise, walking their dog, hanging out with their kids. It's a beautiful thing, and that's walking distance, and you're also very, very close to Calle 10 and everything else. So what does this look like? This is the property right here. I can already tell that this building is over 30 years old. It is in Alejandría. Can I blow this up? No, I can't blow this up. But look, this is the kitchen. This is a complete remodel, in my opinion. You could probably live in this if, again, it's lifestyle and you just want to live there, and you're not going to remodel. You can easily live in here. It's definitely turnkey. You can live in it and be fine. But if I were to put it up on Airbnb, I would remodel the kitchen and the bathrooms. Here's the bathroom. Where's the bathroom? I just passed it. There we go. Bathroom needs to be remodeled completely. I would gut this and redo it. I'm going to tell you how much it costs to remodel something like this. Let me show you. Airbnb, sorry. Airbnb. So if we take a look at, I wonder if mine comes up. If I put Barrio Manila, and you can search by neighborhood. No, mine doesn't come up. Oh, it's probably because they're booked right now. Let me go to like somewhere in the future. I'm going to show you and tell you how much again, I deal with price per square meter, even on remodels. So how much does it cost? Price per square meter, January. I don't know if I have these booked until January. Let me just go like March. I'm pretty sure March is not booked. I don't see it here. Maybe if I zoom in, like you can tell like the difference between something that's remodeled really well and then something that's just not remodeled or catered to like a higher end. Yeah, here we go. Here's one of them. This is one of mine right here. So to remodel, this apartment right here used to look like this apartment. Whoops, not that. Let me close these, go back to the MLS. There it is. So this apartment right here is a very good example of a deal that you could get for $130,000. That's the listing price. I would obviously offer like 120 or 115. But this is what it used to look like. This apartment, I gutted it completely and made it into this. Price per square meter on the rehab is about $400. So this was about 98 square meters. Let me go to the calculator. Excuse me. So this is how I calculate for a client or for myself. So in order to rehab this property right here, how many square meters is it? It is 93 square meters. And I want it to look similar to this, right? These are the bathrooms. Let's look at the kitchen real quick. That's the living room. Where's the darn kitchen? Oh, there's the kitchen. Okay. So I want it to look like this, right? Look at that. That's beautiful. It's awesome. I get 5 stars. I'm a 5-star host. Never gotten less than a 5-star review on my apartments because they look like this, and also the attention to detail and our customer service for our Airbnb properties is awesome. So 93 square meters multiplied by $400. 93 times $400. Whoops, $400. You're talking about a rehab cost to make it look like that, make it look high end, about $37,000, and that doesn't include. Sorry, that includes the gutting of everything and putting up new floors, doing the kitchen, everything. It's going to be about $40,000. And then on top of that, you need to furnish it and decorate it. That's going to be another $20,000 for a property this size. So we're talking about a complete, in order to buy this apartment, let's say you get it at it's listed at 130. Where is it? Yeah, 131. Let's say you talk it down and you get it for $10,000 less, and you get it for, let's say, 120, $11,000 left. Let's go $120,000 plus the $40,000 to rehab it, plus the $20,000 to furnish it and decorate it so that it looks like this. Like this. That is going to be about $20,000. That equals you're all in for $180,000. That's your net. Your gross investment is $180,000. Now let's go to gross income. This is how we figure out the cap rate. So now that we know what our total investment for this property would be in order to make money with it, let's find out if it's going to be a good deal for Airbnb. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Airbnb, and I'm going to go to that section or that area of Airbnb and see how much these apartments. It's going to be about a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in about 90 to 100 square meters. So let's go to Alejandría right here. Let's go to, I always go to a non-touristy month. March is a good one. March is non-touristy, or it's a low season, and so is October. But October is getting close, so there will probably be a lot of bookings already. So let's go to March of next year for a whole month in Alejandría. Yeah, 93 square meters is about 1,000 square feet. Good observation. Sorry, I didn't say that. Okay, so this is Alejandría right here. Let's see how much. Wait, that's not Alejandría. Alejandría. Aguacatala, Los Balsos. Alejandría's right here. Remember, the property is somewhere around here. Why is this in pesos, darn it? Let me open up my other browser. I hate when it's in pesos. I rather think in dollars because there's less fluctuation with the dollar. It's not because I'm entitled or whatever. It's just that it's better for me to do it in dollars because there's going to be less fluctuation as compared to the Colombian peso. I always try to think in pesos, but obviously for investment purposes and for consistency, I use dollars. Okay, Alejandría. And I'm going to check in. Let's see, March. Let's see how much these are going for per month. This is March. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is the apartment one of our clients just bought. Okay, this is going to be over here. El Poblado, Alejandría is over here. This is like the touristy area over here. Over here is Alejandría, Los Balsos. Yeah, Alejandría's right here. Okay, so these are in dollars right here. So I averaged this out, right? So I'm gonna put more filters too because I want to make sure that it's exactly like my property that I have here. This is let's say a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Show 118 places in this area. Come on. Okay, so look at so what I would do is take a look at all these And if I were to invest that, $60,000 into this apartment, it would look something like these right here. So we're talking about like this one right here. Yeah, I would want it to look similar to this, if not better. And this one's going for about 25, about 2,500 for that one. This one right here is a two bedroom, two bath also. This building looks nicer too, but this is the style that I would want. Definitely, this would be my competition. Oh, they have a little wine fridge there as well. So this would be my competition. I would definitely look at these and get an average of prices. So let's say the average price and I always go conservative. If these are getting about $2,500 to $3,200 per month, these higher end, nicer looking ones in Alejandría, the lowest one looks like it's $1,300. What does that look like? You could tell the difference in quality. Yeah, this is the $1,300 one, and this is not my competition. But I'm gonna go base my average on this. So let's say the average is $2,000 per month. I'll go even more conservative, $1,800 per month. So $180,000 is our total investment. Let's go and check our gross income for the year at, let's say, conservatively, $1,800 times 12 months is $21,000, about $21,600, divided by the 1,008, our total investment. That's a cap rate of 12%. That's better than an investment in the S&P 500, better than most mutual funds, CDs, etc., around the world, really. And especially in the United States and in Colombia, I don't think you're going to find many investments where you get a 12% cap rate or return. So that's your cap rate. And this is a good and fast way to analyze a project if it's good for, you literally could do this on a napkin, in a bar or in a restaurant where someone says, hey, I have an apartment for sale. Okay, great. How much is it? Okay, what is the total investment after, purchasing it? How much am I going to have to remodel it for? I already know that my cost per square meter on rehab is $400, and for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, 1,000 square feet, it's going to be about $20,000 to decorate it. So I'm all in $180,000. And then, okay, how much rent can I get? What is conservatively, let's say I get $1,800 per month average throughout the year, which is about $21,600 divided by the total amount that I invested, gives me the percentage of how much of return. So this would be a good deal if I got it at $120,000 though. If I got it at $130,000, this cap rate would go lower. And I always want to be at a cap rate of about 10 to 12% or higher. Mine were a lot higher than this because I remember I got mine for like $62,000. The most I've paid for an apartment here was about $84,000. Now I'm looking to buy another one. So these are the prices that I'm looking at. And if I were to be buying an apartment, I would definitely buy, something like this where I'd have to rehab it, and it would be very nice looking after this. This is how many bedrooms is this, by the way? I think this is 3 bedrooms, but they're small bedrooms. So I would knock down a wall to make it a spacious 2-bedroom. And of course I would knock down the wall in the kitchen to make it like, this is the living room area. I went to this apartment. This is the living room area. The kitchen's behind this wall. So imagine if you knock down this entire wall, you'd have the kitchen and living room area all large, and knock down one of the walls between one of the 3 bedrooms so that you can make it a big 2-bedroom apartment. That's exactly what I've done for mine. My cap rate is over 15%, but this wouldn't be a bad deal. Does that make sense? Let me read some of your comments now. That was for the video. Let me go back to the full screen here. Yeah, cleaning, maintenance costs, and everything, you do that after. This is just a quick way to get a good feel whether this is going to be a good investment. Obviously, once you're doing the deal, you're going to have to take into account, okay, my cleaning fees and my utilities per month, because you're going to have to put air conditioning in it. Oh, by the way, that included air conditioning. My total investment, the $20,000 to decorate it, to furnish it, and to put air conditioning in every room is about $20,000 for a 93 square meter apartment. To make it look high end, though, you want to make it look high end because you don't want to compete with the. I never want to compete with the regular people. I only want to compete with the people that are making money. So my cap rate would be 12%. So that deal that I showed actually looks that it could be a good deal. What would make or break that deal would be if I went there and they said, no, you can't do Airbnbs here. Okay, well, then I have zero interest in this apartment. Or they said, you can only do 1 year terms. Okay, I don't want to do 1 year leases because that means that my cap rate's going to go down because the monthly is going to be a lot less and it's probably going to be unfurnished. But if I could do at least a monthly Airbnbs, that's great. You know, a 30-day minimum, which is 95% of the properties in Medellin are residential or real estate buildings. Sorry, apartment buildings are zoned residential, which have a minimum of 30 days. Minimum of 30 days. So you can't do dailies in 95% of the apartments. I get a lot of clients that come to us and they say, I want to find a daily apartment. I'd be like, good luck. Me and everyone's mother is looking for those because they're very scarce. It's only 5% of the properties in Medellin that are residential are also zoned commercial in order to do dailies, and that's a process that's more expensive. And also, if it's a residential building, everyone has to sign off. I think it's 80% of the owners of the properties inside the building have to sign off in order to get that zoning for commercial to be able to do dailies. So if I own a property there and I'm Colombian, I just live in it, I'm not going to sign that because I don't want daily people coming in every day. I've got my kids here. You know what I mean? Like, those are the struggles that you go through when trying to find properties, especially for dailies. Now, only 5% of them are zoned as residential / commercial in order to do daily rentals. So you're not going to find very good deals like that, or a lot of deals like that. Maddie says, yeah, my question is about buying a pre-construction apartment and the requirements to pay only 30% at first. Then the property can be sold anytime. So you don't really have to pay it all in full. Yes, that's speculation. That's speculating. It's a good idea. A lot of people, they call it, what do they call it? They call that is a type of investment that some people do here, and it's called, darn it, it's like where you sign off the deal to someone. There's a name for it in Spanish. I was literally just talking to a real estate agent about that. So what Maddie's talking about are that there are a lot of construction deals going on in the city, and the constructors, they want to sell or they want to pre-sell the apartments before they even break ground. They want to pre-sell the apartments, so they have like a showing room, a model apartment where you can walk through it. And the way those deals work is that just like any type of financing in Colombia for mortgage, you have to put down 30%. But they spread out the 30% over 24 months. So let's say your total investment's $100,000. You're going to have to come up with $30,000, but you don't come up with it up front. You pay $30,000 over the course of 24 months or 2 years while the building is being built, which is a great deal because, number one, you build credit that way. Number two, your monthly payments are like $1,300 or $1,200, right? 30,000 divided by 24 months. It could be as low as $1,000 or as much as 25. It depends on how much the property costs. So you pay that 30% off over the course of 2 years, and within those 2 years, you can just sell off your bid, I guess, or your apartment. It's not your apartment yet, but your claim to that apartment. It's a word in Spanish, or it's a sentence in Spanish where you're basically selling off your claim to the pre-construction apartment. Now, let's say you didn't sell it off and the 2 years came, you paid the 30%, you're 30% in the apartment. Now, after those 2 years, you've been building credit because the constructor is reporting to the credit bureaus these monthly payments that you're making. So now at the end of 2 years, your credit is stellar. You apply for a loan with the bank that is working in cahoots with the construction company, and you apply for the loan for the rest of the 70%, and now you have a monthly mortgage for 15 or 20 years, and you can live in it, rent it out, or sell it at that point as well. So that's the way those pre-constructions work, and a lot of people will get into them, And within a year, since it's in a very nice neighborhood and exclusive, it's already appreciated. So you're only a year in paying those monthly payments, and you can sell off your claim. It's not going to be You're not going to be selling the entire apartment. You're selling the claim, if that makes sense. A. Smith says, in that example, could you charge $1,800 per month in the U.S.? You have a great rental if the monthly rent is 1% of the purchase price. Exactly. Colombia is riskier, so I would like to have a much greater return. Yeah, exactly. And I always tell people, like, all investments are risks, so you definitely want to do your homework, like we just did right there, to figure out the cap rate, what your return on investment is going to be. And also consider that for a lot of people, this is not only the investment part, or the return on investment is a great perk, because a lot of people want to come down here and have a place to live when they're down here, whether it's like, well, our latest client that just purchased an apartment, he's only going to be here maybe 1 month out of the year. But for that month, he's going to have his own penthouse apartment. And during the year, he's happy just breaking even on the apartment. He's like, if I just break even, this is awesome, because I have an apartment in Medellin. Whenever my family or my friends or I go to Medellin, I have a place to be there. And if I can rent it out at a 70 or an 80% occupancy rate and break even at the end of the year, expenses to income, I'm happy. And so a lot of people think about buying real estate in that way, here in Medellin, because it is riskier than the United States. And it's riskier. I don't know if it's riskier. The risk can be mitigated if you're looking into areas that are of high value. I would say a risky investment would be like investing in one of the hoods. Like, for example, like if I wanted to buy an apartment and invest and put it up on Airbnb in Medellin, that's a risky deal, because there's not a lot of demand. The appreciation is lower than El Poblado, and tourism is not booming there. So that is way riskier. So how do I mitigate that? I only invest in areas that are up and coming or that are already here, like Provenza, Barrio Manila. So that's what I would invest in. And those areas are also the areas that I would want to live in, because I like those areas. So there's a lot of factors to account for there. Wait, so the 12% cap rate is per month? No, that's the 12% cap rate per year. Yeah, the cap rate is per year. The capitalization rate for the entire year, your ROI, your yearly ROI, is about 12%. Again, you can increase that or lower that depending on how you run your Airbnb. My return on investments are over 15%. They're closer to 20% on all of my properties. But that's because I manage them with my assistant, and now my dad's here, so he's also helping me with accounting. By trade, he was an accountant back in the day, so he's good with numbers, and he's good at optimizing the budget, and also they're helping me, administer it. So I optimize how I can make more money. On top of that, the customer service to our Airbnb guests is top notch. So I always get 5-star reviews. I always play for the 5-star review, no matter what happens in the apartment. Oh, something broke. Boom, go fix it that same day, that same hour, and then take them like a little Godiva bar or something, or beers. Like if it's a couple, a wine bottle, just stuff like that most people don't do. It's like, oh shoot, the hot water something's wonky with the hot water. Boom, the contractor or my handyman goes in there that same day, hopefully the same hour, fixes the problem, and he brings something for them and say, hey, sorry for the inconvenience. This is part, I hope this makes up for it type thing. And that's what marks the difference between me getting $2,500 per month to someone maybe with the same style of apartment getting $1,800 a month, just because they don't do that. And maybe they have an agency running their Airbnb, and the agency doesn't do any marketing, doesn't have that level of customer service. It's very impersonal, doesn't check them in. I check in every single person I meet. Sorry, that's a lie. I didn't meet this last person because I was looking at apartments. So the last person that came in to my apartment downstairs, I didn't meet personally. Sorry, to the other apartment, I didn't meet personally, but my dad was there. So we try to keep it like very, very personal. Okay, so that's the difference between the deal. Let's look at another deal real quick. Let me answer any of your questions or comments. To calculate annual expenses, Eddie said. Eddie Brazil, what's up, Eddie? Eddie says, um, let's see, had Eddie said something before because he put number 2 there. Okay, Eddie says, according to my step-by-step example, number 1, determine the annual rental income. Let's assume monthly rent is $2,000. Annual rental income, $2,000 times 12 is $24,000. That's good. And then Eddie said, number 2, calculate annual expenses. HOA fees, let's say $300 per month. That's a good, that's pretty high, actually, $300. But let's just assume it's $300 per month. HOA here in Medellin, obviously it depends on the building. But a lot of them are very cheap. $300 times 12 is $3,600. Property taxes, which is 0.05. Let's say it's $2,400 per year. Is $2,400. And then Eddie said, property management fees is 10% of monthly property management. Yep, about 10%. It could be as high as 20%. Some of these agencies charge 20%. So yeah, 10% is cheap. Times 2,000 is $200 annual property management fee. $200 times 12 is $2,400. Okay, $2,400 annual management fee. Yes. Utilities is $1,500 per month annually. That's $1,800 per year. Internet, $50 a month, etc. Yeah, $600 per year. And then Eddie says, number 3, total annual expenses. Total annual expenses are the total there. He said is about $10,800. Calculate net operating income. Yes, $24,000. We went over that. Minus the $10,000, you're talking about $1,300. Yeah, so this would be the way to calculate once you're getting into the deal, right? I do the cap rate example. I do gross income divided by my total investment just to get an analysis on the cap rate. But in order to do a deeper dive, Eddie has the formula here, which is great. Airbnb commission, yeah, Airbnb charges about 20%. So yeah, Airbnb can be high, but that's why you want to be on the higher tier of properties. I want to cash flow $4,000 to $5,000 a month by the example you gave, so I don't need to do a 9 to 5 when I'm living there. And in the U.S., it sounds like it's achievable as long as I have the cash for the rehab. Yes, for purchasing the property and the rehab. Yes, you could do that, but remember, just because you own the Airbnb, and look what Eddie's saying. He's accounting for 10% management fee, and usually it's about 15%, as high as 20%. So if you're going to be handing it off to someone to do the management, they might not even do a good job. They might not even, a lot of people don't, a lot of rental agencies, I don't see them posting in groups, when there is gaps to fill in their apartments. For example, when I have gaps to fill in my apartments, my assistant goes into 70 different Facebook groups for expats, travelers, visitors to Colombia, to Medellin. There's about 70 on our list. She goes one by one, deleting her previous post and then uploading a new post with pictures, etc., saying, hey, someone canceled for the month of October. We're giving a 20% discount if you book right now. Here's the link. And or message me directly. And that's what the gist of the message. And she does that every single month for gaps in our occupancy. So it's not like you won't have to do a 9 to 5. It's just a different 9 to 5 at that point. Managing Airbnbs, if you hand it off to somebody, yeah, maybe you won't have to do much, but your cap rate's going to be like 6%, or your return on investment will be about 6%. And if you're okay with that and live off that, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to optimize and make more money, you're probably going to have to assemble a small team, like an assistant and an administrator or something like that, or a virtual assistant and a physical administrator here that you pay less than that 15% rate that you would be paying to a management company in order to optimize your income, right? Just stuff like that. Savage marketing. Yeah, literally. I do digital marketing. So I know that if I need, for results, to make money, I need results. So that's the level of marketing that we do. And then From there, it just goes to like, boom, if I get a message and my assistant says, hey, someone's interested in the apartment, I'm messaging them within that hour. I'm not waiting. I'm not gonna, I want them to experience what it's like staying in my Airbnb before they even book it and say, hey, and then by the way, this is another thing that I do. So once they're booking, I'm chatting with them and I say, hey, is this your first time in Medellin? And they say, yeah, this is my first time. Or no, this is our return visit, or I've come many times. I said, great, that's awesome. I have a PDF guide to the neighborhood of Manila where I have all of my favorite restaurants, cafes, co-working spots, things to do in the neighborhood, and then also a general guide of my favorite tour companies, etc. And it's a PDF that I send over to them attached to a YouTube video that's on private in my channel. That shows them that it's a video like this that I'm telling them. I'm describing what's in the PDF and telling them to subscribe to my channel. And this is the level of service that you're going to get once you book once you book my Airbnb. So it's when you say you don't want a 9 to 5, real estate might not be for you because it is a 9 to 5. I mean, I work more than 9 to 5 hours a day. Easily. And I don't view it as work. I view it as fun. I view it as, I'm going to look at properties. I'm dealing with clients. I'm dealing with my own properties. I've got my digital marketing company. I've got my Airbnbs. I've got the Medellin masterclass. I've got those students, those clients. I've got my real estate clients. So I'm constantly on. But I live a great life and I make pretty good money doing stuff that I like to do. So that's that. Let's take a look at another deal on this spreadsheet. Let's look at something maybe more expensive in the higher end area. Excuse me. Let me, where is that? Here it is. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Yeah, with 2 properties, you could cash flow $4,000. I mean, that's basically what I do. With 2 properties, I cash flow about $4,000 after expenses. So it's like a total of $5,000. My expenses are a little higher because I have the best internet. Well, one of the best internets. I've got a cleaning lady that comes at least once a week. I've got a couple other expenses there that I have to do. Okay, so let's share the screen and go over one more deal. What time is it? 7:13. I'm going to go to dinner with my parents in 15 minutes. So let's get this done for the video. So I think I have enough content for a video for my editor to edit a video on my channel, and then for AK to edit a video for the other channel about cap rate. I mean, it's very simple. It's a very simple formula, but a lot of, I guess, knowledge or gold nuggets in there. One of them being you want to focus on areas that are highly touristy or at least highly sought after. Okay, so where do I share my screen? There we go, screen capture. Okay, so let's look at another deal on the spreadsheet. So we have, let's look, what is this $100,000 place for? This is in Aguacatala, which is a nice area. This is the Colombian MLS. Colombia does have an MLS system, and I'm going to be affiliated to them. So when people ask me, are you certified? I could say yes, and literally you just have to make a monthly payment, but it makes you look like you know what you're talking about. When people just meet you, they want to see your credentials. Okay, so this apartment, I've seen this one before. This might be right up my alley, actually. What kind of building is this? Yeah, so this would be a complete remodel again. But again, if it's lifestyle, you can live in it. And you're not thinking about cap rates or anything like that. Let's see if this would be a good deal. This is a nice apartment, to be honest. Let's see. What are the details on this one? This one's, I actually like the floors on this. They look cheaper, though. I'd probably renew them. But if you kept them, they're not bad. This is not a bad looking apartment. It's not in the worst shape. It's not like the shape of the other apartment that we saw. This one looks nice, and it's like a duplex. Well, what they call a duplex is basically the living area is downstairs and kitchen is downstairs, and then upstairs you've got a bedroom. So is this a 1-bedroom? Yeah, this is the downstairs. Okay, let's look at this. I know so this one's about $104,000, $105,000. The HOA is $103 per month. See how the HOAs are so cheap here? $103, $105, $88 per month, $85 per month, $146. Nothing has gone over $200 on, $203 here. Yeah, so HOAs are pretty cheap here. So this one's 80 square meters, which is less than 1,000 square feet, 861 square feet. The cost per square meter is about $1,300, which is not bad. I always want to get as close as possible to 4 million pesos, which is about $1,000. I want to get as close as $1,000 as I can get cost per square meter, especially if it's a rehab project. Most of them will be rehab projects if they're around this square meterage, and price per square meter is close to this. So this is not bad, just analyzing it right away on the fly. Has no view, has 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms. I don't know if I don't think I'd be interested in this very much, because the amount of money that you can make with a 1 bedroom is less than a 2 or 3 bedroom. And on Airbnb, you make more money with more beds. You're right. Like, for example, $2,500. I have all of my apartments are 2-bedroom apartments, which could fit 4 people. So $2,500 divided by 4 people per month could be the availability, or the returnability, I guess the opportunity to make more money is there for me. This 1 bedroom would be maybe something that I would want to live in, right? So let's take a look at this. $104,000. This is in Agua Catala. This is in this neighborhood right here. We're in March. Okay, Agua Catala. Oh, yeah, this is in pesos. Let's go here. Let's go Agua Catala. Check-in dates. Let's put March of next year, which is more of a down season month. And how many beds? Let's do the filter real quick. Filter to just a 1 bedroom, right? It was just a 1 bedroom. 1 bedroom. I don't care about the baths. So this was a 1 bedroom, 2 baths. So Agua Catala's right here. Let's see. Why isn't this populating? Excuse me. Wait, this is 1 bedroom? No. Bedroom. Oh, 1 plus. Dang, I can't just do 1? Okay, so I guess I can't just do 1 bedroom. So this is Agua Catala over here. This is where this apartment is located. This looks like... Okay, so this one right here is $661 per month. Why is that? Is it 1 bedroom? Yeah, this is a 1 bedroom right here. And it's, look, it's in a nicer building. $600 per month. That's super cheap. $585 per month for this. So yeah, right away, let's say on average I'm going to make, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. $600 per month times 12. You got 7,200. And what was this cost here? Let's look at this. This one was 103. Let's say, be very, very flexible. And let's say it cost a total investment of $120,000. $120,000 divided by $120,000, just real quick on the fly. That's a 6% cap rate. I'm not interested in this apartment at all. I would just go next. But if you wanted to live in it, because it's a nice area, look, this is Agua Catala. That's the other thing. If it's for lifestyle reasons, Agua Catala is a nice area, and it's right between Avenida Las Vegas and Avenida del Poblado. It's walking distance to the malls, the Santa Fe Mall, Rio Sur, Estrada, Oviedo. Walking distance to Parque del Poblado, even Provenza. It's going to be maybe like a 20-minute walk, and it's all flat. So lifestyle purposes, this could be a great apartment, like to live in, like, and maybe rent it when you're not here, and maybe break even. With that 6% cap rate right there, I can already tell I'm probably going to be in the hole, but it's a lifestyle investment, and you'll make money on appreciation over the next 10 years if you sell it. So could be a good deal. It could be for you if that's what you want to live in. Oh, that was a room only, not an apartment? This one? Oh, you're right. Okay. $600. Okay. So I was being very, very, very conservative with the price, saying that I would make $600 per month on that one single apartment. It'd probably be closer to over 1,000, maybe 1,100. Looks more like this apartment right here. But again, this apartment has a pool and stuff. That other one doesn't have any amenities. They did a great job with this remodel. Let's look at this. I love looking at this stuff. Let's nerd out for a second. I like that right there. That's cool. I love anytime you can incorporate natural or real plants instead of fake plants. I love that. And Medellin it's so cheap. This morning I went to the vivero. The vivero is the nursery with my gardener, and we picked up some new things, and the total was like $25 for like all these plants. It was amazing. I don't know how I feel about this wood color on a beige floor. Wood color on a beige floor. It kind of looks weird, no? I do like that countertop on the kitchen though. This granite or this granite fiber type countertop, which is scratchless, is nice. They have the nice stovetop too, the gas stovetop, which is nice. These open upwards, probably with like a little hydraulic system. I love that. It reduces banging. Bro, they could do a lot better with this living room set here. It looks like my grandma's living room set. But I do like how they incorporated a little office here for digital nomads. This is perfect. Like, for example, if I were visiting Medellin and it was just me solo, I wouldn't mind renting this. That bed looks super small, though. That's like a double. So it's a 2-bedroom. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom. One of the beds is super small. It's like a double. Yeah, that one's like a queen size. Bathrooms, you could tell that they didn't redo the bathrooms completely. Like I would, but they look nice. It's not bad. Again, if you were living in it and just renting it out like these people, you're probably making 6% or so. It's good. So again, that's how I do it on the fly. I can tell that I wouldn't be interested in that property. So let's recap on what we talked about. So investing in Medellin. If you're a foreigner, yes, anybody can do it. You don't even have to have a local ID. A lot of people go through the visa route of getting the migrant visa for 3 years through purchasing a property. Minimum investment's $120,000 in Colombia right now for that visa. So these properties are kind of in that wheelhouse. That's why I wanted to show that. Number 2 is if you're investing if you're buying for investment purposes and you want to make cash flow, you want to be as close to the beachfront as possible. And the beachfront in Colombia or in Medellin is Provenza, and that 10-block radius of Provenza. So the closer you could get to that without it being noisy and loud and super congested, the better. So that's why I liked the neighborhood of Manila. That's where I have all of my properties. It's a 12-minute walk to Provenza, and and the neighborhood is relatively quiet, and there's a lot of things to do, cafes, restaurants, etc. in the neighborhood. And number 3 is that you want to figure out your cap rate, which is basically your total investment, including rehab costs and furnishing costs, divided by your gross rental income, assuming 100% occupancy. I always go very conservative, multiplied by 12, right, per year, and you divide by your total investment, including rehab costs and furniture and design, etc. And that should give you a percentage, and usually anything over 12% is going to be good. You want it to be as high as possible because once you actually go granular and go income to expenses, that cap rate or that return on investment will be a little lower than what you initially did with just finding out the cap rate. Murat asks, did any banks crash? No. I haven't heard of any banks in Colombia crashing in the 14 years that I've been here, actually. 12% in USD. Yes, USD. I always do my analysis in USD for the number one reason that the dollar is just more stable than the peso. The peso will fluctuate more than the dollar, so I always try to keep it as consistent with the dollar. Smart man services, everything. Yes, Sam, absolutely. Eddie says, have you explored, or Murat asks, have you explored banks in Colombia? They provide CDs of 12%. Yeah, there are CDs of 12%. They were up to 15% last year. There was a mutual fund that was giving 15% last year. I think that one's down to 12% this year. But yeah, those are great. So that's why I always say, like, if you can't get more than what you could get at a bank, for your money, then don't invest in it, right? Like for me, it's all about making money, not only cash flow. Cash flow is great, but over time, I want to make money on appreciation. So I want to be able to optimize that. So if I can't make more than 12% on an investment in a property, then I'm not interested. But I'm talking to everybody here that's watching this. Maybe you'll be interested in buying an apartment for lifestyle purposes, which is completely fine. And then there, the cap rate doesn't matter, but you do want to make sure that you're finding a good deal. That you're not getting ripped off, basically. So if you want to not get ripped off, there's a link in the description to a form. You fill that out, and then somebody on my team will contact you, and I'll start working for you. And I will be in contact with you personally. A lot of people, well, I don't know. I won't talk for anybody, but the way that I do business is that I try to be as personal as possible, because buying a property is a big decision. Even if it's an even if you're a multimillionaire. I've had a client that is a multimillionaire. He just bought a property out here. For him, $250,000 doesn't hurt, but it's still a big decision. It's still something that's going to affect and impact his life and his wallet at the end of the day. So I always am very accessible and very personal with that decision and that business. Eddie says, I wonder anybody is invested in Cartagena since it's beachfront. How does the Airbnb do there? Yeah, I have no idea about Cartagena. I've never been interested in, I've visited and been to Cartagena many, many times. I can't even count how many times, because I like going to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. I don't know. I just feel like Cartagena has a bigger poverty rate. I don't feel that way. It's just a matter of fact that they have a higher poverty rate, and their corruption levels are higher than Medellin. Medellin, the corruption levels are pretty high compared to, United States, but Cartagena, the coast, it seems like corruption's just rampant in all those cities. So I don't know. I wouldn't be very interested. But maybe to have, to vacation, I wouldn't pick Cartagena. I'd rather be like in Santa Marta or maybe even Barranquilla, for like to have a vacation home and that I can rent out and maybe break even on it. I'd be happy, and have like a car there. That's something that I've been exploring, and I'll update you guys on how that goes this next year, buying a property in Barranquilla, because my brother's there, to put on Airbnb, and also to have so that I could go with my son, now that I have a kid, to the beach anytime I want, just hop on a plane and have an apartment there. That would be amazing. That's just the lifestyle that I want. So at that point, cap rate and return on investment would be less of a priority. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So today's episode has been about buying real estate, apartment hunting in Medellin. This is a part of a series that I'm going to continue to do these lives every other weekend. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. That was for the video. Okay. So I'm going to round it off here, guys. I'm going to go to dinner with my parents. They should be here in 1 minute. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you for your comments. You got very insightful. Eddie from Brazil, awesome comments. I really appreciate that. Sam Moreno, thank you for the comments. Luis, thank you for the comments. Murat, thank you for the comments. Burak, thank you so much for the comments and the likes and hitting the subscribe button. If you guys have any questions, this video will live on the channel, and there'll be a comment section. I'm very active. I'll answer any questions that I can. If you want to work with me directly, there's a link in the description to a form. If you want to buy a property out here, you fill out that form with your requirements, your budget, how many bedrooms, what area, etc. And then I will contact you directly through WhatsApp to see if we're a good fit. I can't work for everybody because I don't want to take on like smaller clients, because remember, I'm only making 3% and 3% commission on these deals that I sell. So if I sell a property for $50,000, 3% of that, usually I have to split that with the seller's agent. So I'm making 1.5% on a $50,000 property. It wouldn't make sense for me, but I don't hesitate to answer your questions, give you some tips, etc. And if you really want to take it to the next level, you could join us in the Medellin Masterclass. Take the Masterclass and be a part of our private group. Everybody there is either an entrepreneur, works online. A lot of those guys have bought properties here as well. And now we have couples in there. females in there as well, families, etc. So it's a very diverse group. Enjoy your dinner with your parents. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys next week on the next live.